Go. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to 100 Proof Whitetails. We're here again for another Fresh Crack Friday and doing one a little bit different this time. This is a bottled in Brooklyn, but it's distilled in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Indiana. I think they have all three states representing juice going into the mix. We got a Widow Jane here, 10-year. This one ran me about $63. Which is a pretty good price on it. They do the Decadence, they do the Lucky 13. There's a whole bunch of different offerings from them, but good 10-year one. And again, fighting it against the defending champ, the budget bottle, Cooper's Craft 100 from the Tennessee and Kentucky trip me and my wife took. So I'm gonna let Keith do the honors. That's gonna be our Glass A's. He's gonna pour those up and crack that bottle, and then we'll get right on to the tasting for you folks.
Here we go. I did cheat and start the plastic before we started here.
Cooper still sounds good.
It does. Here we go. As Ben would say, quiet on the set.
A little tight, Cork.
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was tight.
A wet pop.
It was a little weak, I think. A
little weak wet pop on that one. But, yeah, so Glass B is going to be the Coopers tonight. Glass A is the Widow Jane 10-year. I keep wanting to call it the Decadence, but that's the anniversary one for it.
How much you want in here, Ben?
Right up to the little pour line. It's a little pour line with the barrel. See that on there?
Oh, yeah, okay. Didn't know that was there, to be honest.
All these episodes, you still don't know that's there?
Nope. Learn something new every day, bud.
Yeah, there you go.
So I picked this one because I'm a geo nerd and I love geology, and this one was made with mineral water from New York limestone formations, and I just like geology, so I picked this one because it sounded cool. So we'll see how she does.
Not a big fan of synthetic corks.
No, that's what that is? Gotcha.
That was tight, though. It's kind of a squeaky pop. There's your B glass. You'll be able to figure them out at some point. But yeah, the Coopers has been a juggernaut. Won the last two, beat out Smoke Wagon, and then beat out that McKenna single barrel. So really nice bottle. This one was, like I said, $39 for the Coopers 100, which I found it cheaper later.
Yep. What, 32 or something? You said that was around.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a great bottle for that, dude. I wish we could have had that when we were out bourbon hunting today. It would have been nice to find a Cooper's Craft here in New York, but not distributed here yet. So.
Yep. And what proof is this one?
That one I believe is also 91. Maybe?
91 proof.
91.
Yep, the Widow Jane 91.
So a little bit lighter.
Yep.
So we'll see how it goes. It's kind of like I said, they blend it up to get to their flavor profile, and then they bottle it all up in Brooklyn.
Yeah. And
cut it with limestone water from New York.
So this is the second New York one we've done? We did
be the first one for the new for the 100 proof.
100 proof. So So I'm looking forward to this one, just a little bit unique, something from New York rather than Kentucky or Virginia.
Yeah, a little New York blend. No New York juice in it, but New York water.
Yeah, New York water, that counts, right?
Yeah, I think so. So going with the Widow Jane first.
Oh, that smells nice.
A lot of caramel.
Yeah.
Kind of sweetness with it.
Absolutely caramel sweet. And it what was the one we did that had the caramel sweet last time? Wasn't the Coopers, was it?
No. I almost think you're thinking back to with the other podcast when we had the Black Button one. That one was a lot of caramely smell. Maybe it's New York. Maybe it's something with our water.
That smells really good.
It smells like a nice, thick caramel.
Yeah. It's got really good color.
Nice color.
Light.
Nope. We'll see if the proof's a little bit, low for me. I do like them a little bit more in the 100 range.
And I like them a little lower, so I'll probably really enjoy this one.
We'll see. So, cheers. On the Widow Jane.
Here we go. It's got a little bite on the lips for a 91.
Yeah, but it's like a spice bite.
Yeah?
It's not like a proof bite. It's like a spice bite. So I wonder So this is batched only 5 barrels at a time.
Yeah.
I think you were reading that before we
Yep,
got started.
absolutely.
Not bad. Again, it's not a New York bourbon or whiskey, so I mean it's bottled here,
Right.
but it's not.
It's got New York water.
It's got New York water.
Yep. New York mineral water.
So it's a New York product. But
it's half New York,
mm-hmm.
half Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana.
Mm-hmm. I think if you like that rye bite, it does have a nice long linger. Like
it definitely does.
I still get some taste with it, and it's not as sharp as it was when I, tried it on the first sip. But
I don't get the complexity.
Don't get any of that caramel. Not super complex. Got a nice rye spice bite though. If you like that Granddad line of flavors, Granddad and Granddad 114, the Bond and the 114, I think that tracks right in line with those. Okay. And it's a much better budget, buy, I think. For the price tag, dude, it's not there. And that's what these fresh cracks are. These are honest takes on it.
For $63, I wouldn't be.
I think it's good.
It's
I'm
good,
not saying
not
it's bad, but it's not
great.
It's not one I'm going to go put another one on my shelf.
No,
and I think that's where we put the value on these.
And I think like when we get up to that $60 and up, I want complexity.
No.
I don't want single note flavors.
You want a nice Russell single barrel. You want like one of those like that other McKenna we tried out of the decanter.
Yeah.
That good, the Bowman, that good, deep, rich flavors.
Yeah, just as it, washes through your mouth, get different flavor profiles front to back. And it, just keep saying again, but like me personally, I'm going to pay for complexity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for more than that one note flavor profile. And like when we did that Coopers last week, the complexity's there, and it's $40.
Mm-hmm.
When
that proof bites, that rye bites.
It does rye bite, and I initially thought that kind of tingling on the lips was the proof, but it instantly
it's that spice.
Yeah, it is the spice, and that initial flavor profile of this is definitely more of that spice. And it's weird that there's none of that sweetness. You get all that caramel sweet in the smell and no sweet, to me, in the drink.
Yep. Again, if you like those spicy bourbons, those rye whiskeys, this is going to be right up your alley.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's one that I'm not a huge fan of. This is one I'll probably go over and share with my dad. My dad's a big Granddad fan.
Yep.
I just think it tracks more in that spice line.
Yeah.
Than any kind of sweet or complexity mixed with sweet. I don't mind a little bit of spice, but that's just like spice right up front, right for full forward.
In your face.
Mm-hmm.
And it stays. That spiciness really doesn't
die
off.
And that's where it still holds a lot of good value for me, is it has a super long finish.
It does.
It's coated in your mouth. You're still tasting it. If it had some complexity and then held that nice finish through it, I would like it more.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I'm finding that I'm not a huge fan of that spice,
mm-hmm.
like extreme spice without the complexity. I'm okay with a little bit of spice and then kind of moving into other flavor profiles, but just the spice, not my cup of tea.
Yep,
for that one.
So I don't know. I think it's good. Like I said, I gave it 2 good shakes. It's spice. I mean, there's
1 out of 10. What are you getting at?
5.5.
I was gonna say
because of the value.
I was gonna say 6
because of the value.
Yeah,
I think because of the value for the price point. Story's cool. It's a nice looking bottle, simple, not overly complex, not going to jump off the bar at you.
Yep.
But if you have somebody that maybe that's their go-to, it's a nice one to have on your bar. It's cool to have the blended art, and it pays, kind of homage to that of blending all these different whiskeys together to get that profile.
Yep.
Which I think is really cool. That the story behind it is cool. That's going to give it some points. I would go 5.5, maybe lean it toward that 6, say it on the upside of 5.5.
Yep.
But it's just not stacking like that 7 on the Coopers.
No.
I from what I remember, I mean, it's opened up now, a week or 2. So we'll see if it's changed a little bit, but
here's the Coopers.
dude, just like sweet fruit.
Yeah, it's crazy how different the smell is between you get that really strong caramel sweet, and this is dead opposite.
And there was no caramel sweetness with it. There was no caramel
None.
bourbon flavor
No.
with
None.
that nose from the Widow either. But this is just, which again, the Cooper's goes a little bit different too. It doesn't really have that fruit forward flavor. It's got a little bit of a proof bite in the front, not the spice bite, but I think more of that proof bite.
Just a different type of bite, but
yeah,
I personally like the proof bite more than the spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's an incredible bourbon.
For the value, for the dollar.
For $32 in Virginia or Kentucky?
That was Virginia.
I think
you could probably find it in Kentucky too.
That for $32 before tax, that is by far my favorite bourbon for $40.
And I think I figured out the spice bite or whatever you want to call it is if you've ever used too much allspice if you're baking.
Yep.
That's the spice bite that you get.
Okay.
Or if you ever were in college and did that stupid cinnamon challenge.
No,
you never did the cinnamon challenge? So don't do this, guys. You take a spoonful of cinnamon.
Yep.
And the bet is you bet somebody $100 you got to just have a spoon of cinnamon. You swallow it, it's impossible. Nobody can do it. Nobody can do it. Your gag reflex your mouth, it dries your mouth out. That's the spice
that you're getting from
that I get from
Gotcha.
it.
I can see that. That cinnamon, yeah, I gotcha.
Like the pure cinnamon, not cinnamon sugar, the pure cinnamon.
Right.
Concentrate kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just gnawed on a bunch of Red Hots.
And it's interesting going to the Coopers from that is I'm not getting...
The proof bite's not there comparatively.
No, and there's just... It's so... I hate to use the word because it's so cliche, but smooth.
Mm-hmm. It's just easy going.
It's really smooth.
Right up anybody's alley. You could pour that for somebody that's a beginner. You could pour that blind against a lot of stuff, and I think it would hold its own for sure.
And it tastes...
The Widow Jane, again, though, and that's where these little blind comps and, blind pours and stuff are neat.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the day or the person, that could stand out and be perfect what somebody wants that day.
Oh, yeah. If you're looking for that spicy that day.
Or if that's your feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can say one thing is it is unique, right? It does have some uniqueness in that bite. But it's like, again, like we were talking in the truck earlier, like just one of the unique things of bourbon is
there's hundreds of them, thousands of them.
And if your flavor, what you like in a flavor profile goes that spicy route, that might be worth $60 to you.
Mm-hmm.
As a person that enjoys that flavor profile, where you might grab the Coopers and not like that. So for somebody that's looking for that, especially if you're drinking rye, right? So if you're somebody that really likes the rye,
spicy rye kind of flavor,
and you're looking for something different, that's a good bottle.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good choice.
I think so. And if anybody's watching this, if you want to go to K&M and you think you like Widow Jane or you've had Widow Jane and you like it, they had, when we were there today, they had the Decadence and the 13 in the case.
At reasonable prices.
At MSRP prices.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that one I got on sale. I think this one was a buy from Ryan's when they marked it down, because I think they're normally like 70. I think they marked it down to like 62.
Yep.
Or 63, whatever it was. I think they're normally 70. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I got that back in December. I've had that a couple months now.
Okay.
So, but
is this a hard one to find for people that might be looking for something like that?
Ryan's usually has it. Okay. K&M usually has the regular offering. They might be out of it right now, or I know it's limited because it's batched out of those 5 barrels that they mix together from probably at least 3 different distilleries.
Mm-hmm.
If not more. So it might even have some Brown-Forman Cooper's juice.
Yeah, it might
in it.
You never know.
It might be part of that recipe that they got going on, but no, it's not that hard to find. I think you could find that at your Ryan's, any of your major retailers up in the city, stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
I don't think it's a terribly hard one to find. Is your local hometown store going to have it? Probably not.
Okay.
Or if they get it in, they might be able to get you 1 or 2 bottles in.
Right.
If you ask them, if you have good relationships with your store owners. And that's, what it boils down to. We were in K&M today talking to them. They had nothing behind the counter I wanted, but because of the relationships I've built with them, Keith was with me, he was able to snag himself a nice Russell single barrel.
Can't complain. I've been looking for one of those.
Mm-hmm. And they're not easy to come by.
No, and
it was the only one they had.
It was the only one. It was a really good price.
Yep.
And Ben has me hooked on Russell's. Yeah, it's bad. Russell's 10 is my go-to. That's my Friday night sitting down having a bourbon. That's my go-to for, what was it, $39 at K&M.
Yeah, it was $38. They had that in stock.
Like, I look at all the bottles they have there. Any liquor store I've ever been into, if I'm spending $40, I'm getting Russell's 10.
Yeah, if you're low on it, grab one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good buy if you like, just a smooth, easy drinker, nothing crazy. It's pretty, for me, it's mellow. I don't like anything too wild yet. And for bang for your buck, I think it's a great buy. But if I had to choose, if I'm walking into a store in Virginia and there's the $39,
$32,
yeah,
whatever.
$32 Coopers and a Russell 10,
probably grabbing a Coopers.
I'm probably going to grab that Coopers because
that's fair.
If my wife and I are going,
fair.
Yeah, if my wife and I are on a trip, I'm going to stop and get one of those because
you probably could find them in Pennsylvania too.
Yeah, and honestly, even if I could find that online and get it for a decent price, I would probably.
I'm sure somebody we know will be out of state at some point. I think that one's a good enough one where you could have somebody grab you 3-4 of them. To stack up.
Absolutely.
I think that would hold its own.
Yeah.
Mixed up in a cocktail.
Anything.
Straight.
Anything.
On ice.
Yeah.
And for a budget bottle, that sub $40, that $40 mark and under is what I guess I call budget or daily drinker bottle.
Yep.
I think it fits that niche perfect, dude. Yeah, a seasoned guy will like it. A brand new person into the whiskey and bourbon will like it. We can't say enough about this Coopers. We're going to talk about this, I feel like, a lot in the next couple episodes.
Yeah.
It's going to take something really special, I think, to knock it off.
And understand, too, that we're not just talking about flavor profile. We're not just talking about complexity. It's value. And unfortunately, in this kind of day and age, that has to be a factor. It's not the end-all, be-all, but if I'm going to put a $100 bottle against a $40 bottle, is that really fair? Not really, but what we're finding out is
the flavor match 100? Maybe.
And I think of like return on your investment. Is that $100 bottle going to taste that much better than a $32 bottle of Coopers?
Yep.
Right. So, it kind of goes to, you might be spending more money than it's worth wherever you may get that. So
paying for the name.
If that's something that you're concerned about, or if you don't care what it costs, go buy a Coopers.
Yep.
Go buy one because it's worth it.
And again, it depends on what you like, what your profile is. We were talking before we started recording about this Weller Antique. Long story. That got cracked this past weekend. I had family over. All good.
Ben, let me try it. It was great.
That's one that I have a buddy that'll pay $100, $120 for that.
Yep.
All day long, every day.
Yep.
It's a good bottle. I don't think I would pay that for it.
Sure.
I think I'd pay $60, $70 for it if I could find it. But again, you just don't find them. That one I traded for.
Yep.
But again, it just comes back to value. If that's your profile, that's your flavor, that's what you want, or if you feel like you got to keep up with the Joneses and spend the extra money to buy a Blanton's or buy a whatever, go for it. But I think, like we always talk about, find somebody that has one of these, give you a sample of it, let you try it, let you try just a little. I call them communion cups. I have a whole stack of them down here. Little quarter shotters.
Yep.
Put a splash in it for them.
Yep.
Let them try it, before you go out and buy them.
There's truth in that too. And like, I'm a big researcher, right? Like when I was looking for a bow, I looked at 4 million YouTube videos on bows, right? And so I was talking to Ben earlier about this, and like, I have a hard time spending $80, $90, $100 on a bottle not knowing if I'm going to like it, right? So what do we all do? We go on freaking Google, we go on YouTube, whatever. If you want to spend that much on a bottle, do some research. Watch the YouTube videos, watch a podcast, read up on it if you're kind of nervous about that, because for me, educating yourself and figuring out what's going on with that bottle, even if one person loves it or hates it, you can at least get an idea of what the profile's like before you go out to your local store and purchase them. But it's so cool that, you have two different bottles and they're so different. They're so unique, different price points. And to me, that $39 Cooper's just kicked the
holds its own all day.
And it just, for me personally, it just kicked the snot out of that other one.
I agree. Absolutely. I think that about wraps it up. Cooper's moving on again. This is going to end up like another Bowman.
It's going to be...
It's going to end up getting drank way down the bottom of the bottle.
We're going to call it the new Bowman.
The new Bowman.
The Cooper's the new Bowman. It's the Bowman of Virginia.
Yep.
That we can't get up here.
Yep.
So moral of the story, if you're in Virginia, you're going through, or you live there, pick yourself up a bottle of Cooper's and enjoy.
Yeah. If you can find it anywhere but here in New York. And if you're tuning in from somewhere other than New York and you can find it, get one.
Send us a bottle.
Send us a bottle.
We'll pay you.
We'll shout you out on the show, too. Absolutely. So, and tune back in next week, guys. We're going to open the most expensive bottle that we've ever opened on the show.
I'm excited for that.
I am, too.
Are you going to tell them, or are we going to leave them hanging?
Got to leave them hanging. You got to tune back in next week.
We're going to leave them hanging. It's a cliffhanger for next week.
Got to tune back in next week for the most expensive bottle we've opened on the Fresh Crack podcast ever. Even with the previous channel, ever.
Yep.
So, thank you all for tuning in. If you like these, let us know in the comments below. Hit that little thumbs up. Subscribe. Share it around. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell everybody.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it. And if you want to send us a bottle, we will open it. And we will shout you out any day of the week.
For sure. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Thank you.